So what do you do when there are unresolved problems in your family? How do you lean into those problems that you know are there, but you just don't want to deal with? Well, today that's what we're going to talk about on the Sift. Glad that you're here. My name's Nathan Eldridge. I'm here with my good friend Jeff Holtzclaw. We're just two Christian guys having honest conversations about real life, and we're glad you're here. Jeff?
Oh, good morning, Nathan. Episode 7.
Yes.
Son,
Man, rocking.
we're up there, buddy.
Almost to double digits.
Almost.
It. Awesome, man. Well, we're picking up today again in the life of Joseph. And before we dive into the life of Joseph, let me just say our goal here is really just to encourage you, to equip you, to have conversations about the Bible that would hopefully add value and help you individually, help you in your family, help you in your church. We want to be an encouragement to you. So please do engage with us. You know, if you're finding that these are beneficial to you, we'd love for you to subscribe and watch these things, listen regularly, share it with a friend. If you find something helpful, we'd be honored if you do that. So yeah, that being said, here we are. Man, we're picking up where we left off last week.
Yep.
Last week we started the story of Joseph, and it starts off with this building tension of hatred. You know, they just hate Joseph because of his dad's special love, because of the coat that that Jacob gives to Joseph, and it's just like his brothers hate him, and then he has dreams and they hate him more, and then he has another dream and they're really jealous, and that's where we pick up today.
That's right. That is a good refresher from last week.
So, man, as we pick up, how do we want to tackle this? We want to read a little bit of the Bible. Do we want to read the Bible?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this. I'm going to pick up with the first section because I think the first thing that at least as I see it, and I'm the captain, right? I'm driving here, buddy.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
There's something that I think Jacob fails to see. I think this is a really big oversight, at least in my mind. I don't want to add things to the Bible, but I see Joseph walking into danger here in the first part of this section, and Jacob's just seems to be unaware. So let's read it, and then we'll dig into it, and we'll see where we get.
Yep.
So Genesis chapter 37, beginning in verse 12. I'm going to read through verse 17. Right, it says, "Now his brothers," that's Joseph's brothers, "they went to pasture their father's flock near Shechem." Shechem's not a good place.
No.
That's some bad stuff's happened in Shechem a few chapters before.
Yep.
And Israel, that is Jacob, said to the son, Joseph, "Are not your brothers pasturing the flock at Shechem? Come, I'll send you to them." And he said to them, "Here I am." And so he said, that is, that Jacob said to the son, Joseph, "Well, go now and see if it's well with your brothers and with the flock, and bring me word." And so Jacob sent Joseph from the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And so he's wandering around out in the fields. It says, a man found him wandering in the fields. And the man asked him, "What are you doing? What are you looking for?" And he says, "I'm seeking my brothers," he said. "Tell me, please, where they are, where they pasture in the flock, basically. Tell me where they are." Verse 17, this guy, we don't know who he is, he says, "They've gone away, for I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" And so Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is. Here it is. This is a dangerous mission.
That's right. And Joseph is 17.
Still a young man.
17. Shechem's like 60 miles from Hebron. Dothan's another 10. So I'm sure he's walking.
Yeah.
Or riding a goat or something. He's not 17-year-old. Hey, just head to Shechem. You mentioned it, that Shechem is bad juju for this family, right?
Right.
Dinah, their sister was raped by Shechem.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine that Shechem, the man, is Shechem, the land where he resided.
Right.
Okay. So, and then the brothers didn't like that much and went there and just massacred a bunch of the Shechem family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
bad news.
So what do you think about Jacob Israel sending a 17-year-old to Shechem, 70 miles away, to check on brothers who hate him?
Yeah. That seems like nothing but wisdom to me. I mean, it seems like a great idea. I'm just telling you, man. I think this is a major issue. And can I just say, as we look at this whole thing, there seems to be some concern on Jacob's part, the dad, for the brothers. He's like, hey, I just want you to go make sure things are okay with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So there seems to be some awareness
Got some love for the family, right? Yeah.
And yet there's this total lack of awareness of the kind of volatile situation with the brothers, the older brothers, who absolutely loathe and hate Joseph, and he just doesn't even picking up on this. And we're not told if Rachel or anybody else in the family were like, hey, there's problems and you're not paying attention. I mean, women seem to have a great intuition to pick up on those relational problems at times. And there's no indication that he seems aware. All that to say, he goes down to Shechem, and there's a guy, a Bible commentator. His name is Derek Kidner. He's with the Lord now. But in his commentary on Genesis, he talks about this being an ill-conceived errand. He's like, this is bad. This was a bad idea, bottom line. And I think for us, it's helpful just to pause for a moment and say, this, as men in particular, as dads, I mean, that's two of us sitting here. If we don't pick up on the problems, if we're not paying attention to the problems, we will lead our families right into danger. Mm-hmm. And I think for him, Jacob is doing just that. He's failing, in a sense, to recognize a very real problem with the hatred and the tension, and he sends his son right into the problem. So
that is. It's funny how people think differently. That is an excellent sort of practical application of what kind of is balling up to be a bunch of trouble. And I agree with it 100%. When I was reading that, though, I keep having this thought in mind that this has to happen.
Oh, yeah.
This has to happen because all of this pain and suffering that poor Joseph goes through is to save his family, because out of that family comes our Lord.
Yeah.
And but for all this trouble, man, this family's going to die in a famine.
Right.
So you've probably had this life where nothing has gone wrong. There's
Absolutely.
No suffering.
I'm glad it's been that way.
Yeah, no issues. But it gives me this hope that even in suffering, man, God is working. and it's hard to swallow when you're suffering.
Absolutely.
But my goodness, Joseph is about to be put through the ringer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he is, and we'll get to it. I'm really jumping past what you said. So forgive me.
No. I'm really glad you are.
But Joseph does this, what I think provides us a phenomenal example of being joyful in all weather. Man, you don't hear much complaining out of him at all.
No.
He knows about the tension between his brothers.
He has to.
He knows this is a 60, 70-mile journey. He's heard rumors of how his brothers killed all of the Shechemites, or whatever they called them back then.
Yeah.
And when Joseph tells him, hey, man, go check on your brothers, and he said, here I am. Like,
oh, that's a great point.
Dude, okay, here I am.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Send me. Send me. What a great, this story is so awesome.
Man, that's a great point. And, to your point, the Bible, one of the things that we're going to go put our theologian cap on for just a minute.
Oh, you are.
No. Go with me here, bro.
Oh, okay.
So, in the Bible, there are these two things that are presented side by side, these two truths. One is that God is absolutely sovereign, that God is all-powerful, not just over creation, not just over parting seas and creating the sun and the moon and the stars, not just sovereign over the created world in that regard, but he's sovereign over redemption as well, the famine, redeeming this family, saving this family in the end.
Yeah.
You know, he has the divine power to control the course of history. And so you got divine sovereignty on the one hand, and you have human responsibility on the other hand, that perhaps Jacob, if we were advising Jacob, we would have said, hey, man, this is probably not a good idea.
That's exactly right.
You know, don't do this. And so there's this interplay in the Bible between it saying mankind is responsible for his actions, and God is absolutely sovereign over all things. And J.I. Packer, a guy who passed away a few years ago, he described those two things side by side as what he called an antinomy. And what he meant was it's not something we can fully reconcile. He said it's like two parallel lines that go off into eternity in front of us, and somehow God can see them connect, but we can't. That, yes, God is sovereign. Yes, we're responsible. It's not an either-or kind of thing. It's just not. And so I think we've said it on here before and maybe in conversations, but what we'll see here in this passage and through the life of Joseph is that we have the capability, because we're free agents in a sense, and we can make decisions. I can choose coffee or tea. I can choose to this job or that job. I have choice. I have agency. I can make an absolute train wreck of my life, but I cannot wreck the plans of God. I don't have the ability to do that. I don't have the ability to overturn or thwart the plans of Almighty God. But boy, can I make a mess of things in my own little world.
Yeah.
And so I say that the Bible doesn't resolve this tension between divine sovereignty and human responsibility. But anyway, okay, I take the theologian.
No, man, dude, that was great, because I like to understand things, and that is one of those things I cannot wrap my head around. I appreciate your input.
Well, I'm not sure I got my head wrapped around it.
Well, I don't think anybody does, but you listen to some people and you think, oh yeah, that guy's right. And then you listen to somebody else with a counter approach and you go, oh, that guy's right. And I can't untangle it. So I appreciate that. But I have pulled us off course.
No. Going back to this issue, I'll say this, just for whoever's listening, for myself, for you, we were just talking about this before we got on this morning. In Proverbs chapter 22, it says this, in Proverbs 22, verse 3, Solomon's writing all this out, and he says, look, the prudent, he's teaching his sons how to be wise, and Solomon says, the prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and they suffer for it. In other words, if you see there's a problem, you need to avoid it. And I don't know right now who's listening, what's going on, but if there's a problem in your family, if there's a tension in your marriage today, if there's a conflict with your children, if there's a problem with a coworker, if you bury your head in the sand and you refuse to deal with it, just buckle up. If you do nothing, it will not get better. It will only get worse. It's like knowing you've got the first signs of cancer and you just ignore it. It's going to metastasize, it's going to spread, and eventually, as we're going to see in this very story with Joseph, it's going to become deadly. And so I don't know who's listening, but man, I just want to encourage you. And it's so easy for me to say that sitting here in this luxurious room with this table with my buddy. It's easy for me to say, you need to go deal with this. But if you need encouragement and support, I just want you to know you can call Jeff.
Yeah.
And he will help you.
And that he's not far off base either. I mean, I am a helper.
So all that to say, we got to lean into it. We got to lean into those hard moments, and nothing will eat the lunch of a family marriage like passivity, just refusing to deal with what you know is a problem.
Hey, can you tell me that scripture again? We're not rehearsed here, but you said
Proverbs 22. Yeah, Proverbs 22, verse 3. I wouldn't know if I didn't write it down. I wish I just memorized all this stuff.
We know you did. You have.
I'm just going through the motions, but I don't want you to feel bad.
You've memorized the whole Bible.
Yeah.
But you said, I don't know who may need to hear this. Man, that struck a chord with me. Just being passive in some situations gets you into this trouble that Joseph is now about to stumble into.
And can you imagine, last thing, and then we'll go.
Yep.
He had no idea that morning, and I say this kind of facetiously, when they got up that morning and they had their coffee and they walked out and stretched, and then it was like, hey, man, you need to go check on your brother.
Yeah, great, I'm going.
Jacob had no idea that it would be decades before, and he had no idea what was about to happen. Joseph had no idea what was about to happen. And so I'm telling you, one of the reasons why we need to lean into and deal with the problems is you don't know, man. When your spouse, when your kid, they get in the car in the morning and they leave, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, just recently, there was a terrible accident here, just nearby. And one of the people involved in that accident, they passed away, sadly. And it's like that guy, when he was on his way to wherever he was heading, he had no idea that that was the last trip he would ever take.
No.
And it's going to be decades before Jacob sees his son again at this point.
Yeah.
And he's going to think he's dead.
Yes.
I mean, he's going to be grieving, mourning.
Yes.
It's awful. So, all right, we got to press on, but we don't want to avoid the problem. We got to deal with it. So the second thing, we pick up in verses 18 to 28, back in Genesis 37. Let me flip back in my Bible here. As we look at this, now Joseph has made the trek. He's down there. So I'll read a few verses. Genesis 37, beginning of verse 18, it says, Then they, that is Joseph's brothers, they saw Joseph coming from afar, and before he came near to them, they conspired to kill him. Man, this is what they said. Man, he will never send another bad report home.
Yeah.
Oh, he always thinks he's got something to say. No more bad reports about us.
Look at him in that colorful robe.
Yeah.
Look,
I
saw him from a distance.
I could see that coming a mile away. You know, they hate him. They're just seething with anger. And it says, they said to one another, okay, so here he comes. Here comes this dreamer. Come, let's kill him and throw him into one of these pits. And then, here's the cover-up. We're going to lie about it. Then we'll say that a fierce animal has devoured him, and we'll see what becomes of all those dreams he had. All right, so, I mean, this is option one. Let's just kill him, and let's lie about it. That's number one. But then Reuben has some kind of misgivings about this. He's like, he's the oldest brother. He really committed some pretty significant sin against his
number one son.
Yeah, and he had sinned against Jacob pretty badly, with his,
Sir.
Anyway, with one of his dad's wives. It was not a good thing. And for whatever reason, he's like, hey, guys, don't kill him. Let's throw him in a pit, but don't kill him. And it says in here, when he came and he said that, it says he uses the language, he rescued Joseph out of their hands, saying, let's not take his life. And then Reuben says to the guys, he says to the guys, don't shed any blood. Cast him into this pit here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him. And he did it, and there's this kind of annotation here, this note that says, so that he, Reuben, might rescue Joseph out of their hand and restore him to his father. And so there's something going on. He feels conflicted. Like, man, we can't do this. I gotta save my brother here.
Yep.
So verse 23 says, when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors that he wore, and they took him and cast him into the pit, and there it was empty. There's no water in the pit.
Yeah.
Now, in my mind, I was reading a book by a guy named John Lennox about Joseph, and anyways, he was talking about the pit. I hadn't thought about this, but I think of like a cylinder, like just a big cylinder of a pit. But he said the pits were actually shaped like bottles, so that they span in. Yeah, so they start narrow here, but they spread out at the bottom. So there's no climbing out of this thing.
Hard to get out of that.
Yeah, you're just not doing that. So it's a pretty bad situation for him. I don't remember any thoughts before we keep pressing on?
Just that, when they see him from afar, you can tell they've had years of envy, jealousy, turned to hatred that we learned last week, and now you see them conspiring to murder. Murder their brother.
Yeah.
Right? It's premeditated murder. You've got Reuben, the number one son, that has, like you said, is thinking about this doesn't look right. It's almost like he knows how important Joseph is to his father, that he could return him to his father and be in good stead with his father. You don't know.
No.
Yeah.
And here's Joseph at the mercy. I mean, can you imagine? He is totally at the mercy of his brothers. They've overwhelmed him. They're stronger than he is. They strip the coat. They take the coat away. And I want to fast forward for just a minute,
Yeah.
right? In this passage, it's helpful to know, like, what were the brothers thinking? So they throw him in the pit, and then look at the very next verse, and then they have a sandwich.
Yeah.
They sit down and they eat their Doritos for lunch.
Yeah.
They sit down to eat, and they look up. So here's the thing.
Hey, one thing that that you mentioned earlier between this sovereignty of God and man's responsibility. Look that they said, hey, we're going to throw him in the pit. We're going to kill him. We're going to say that an animal ate him, and we're going to see what becomes of his dreams. What they were doing was prompting the fulfillment of those dreams.
Yeah.
So they think they're so smart. We'll see what becomes of their dreams. Well, this was a catalyst,
right,
for those dreams to come true.
Exactly. That's
and they
great.
don't even know.
No,
They're just falling around.
And that's exactly the way it is in your life and mine. We just think we're so clever.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'll tell you, even when it comes to the New Testament, I mean, think about all the religious leaders, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes, those who falsely accused Jesus, Judas and his betrayal of Jesus. All of that happened, and when you get to the cross, it seems like the moment of utter defeat.
Yeah.
And yet the Apostle Paul says that Jesus triumphed through the cross. Like, that was exactly what needed to happen.
Yeah.
And then you go into the book of Acts, and it says that all that happened according to the predetermined plan of God.
Yeah.
It was like, man, I can only imagine Satan was like, I've got him now. I've got him. We're going to take him out. And it was at the very moment as Jesus was dying and Satan thought he was triumphing, that it was actually the seed of the woman crushing the head of the serpent.
Veil rips.
I mean, it's just like,
man.
brother, you don't even know what you're doing. So that's a great point. Let me read this.
Yes.
Fast forwarding in Joseph's story. So his brothers throw him in the pit, and what's going on? Well, later in the story, when they actually encounter Joseph, they don't know it's him yet. This is what they say. Right? Joseph says to his brothers, he says, this is in chapter 42, so fast forwarding several chapters. Joseph says, on the third day, Joseph said to his brothers, he says, I want you to do this and you'll live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers remain confined where you are, where you're in my custody. And he says, let the rest of you go and carry grain for the famine to your households, and bring your youngest brother to me, so your words can be verified, and you shall not die. And this is when he's asking for Benjamin.
Benjamin, yes.
But here's the point. The next thing they say, when Joseph, and they don't know it's him,
Right.
He's like, you bring your youngest brother to me. And they're going, there's no way we can do that. This is what they say. They look at each other and they're like, oh man, in truth, we are guilty concerning our brother, referring to Joseph. It says, in that, while we saw the distress of his soul, when he begged us, and we did not listen to him. That's why this is happening to us. They knew all those years later.
20 years or whatever it is later.
Yeah, they know, man, this is happening
got a
because
heavy weight.
we saw he was begging. So what was happening in this moment when they throw him in the pit? He's begging for them to have mercy.
Of course.
And just like any of us would.
Yes.
Anyway, that's, going back to the story here, picking up where we left off. It says they look up, they see this caravan coming from Gilead with their camels, bearing all these things, headed to Egypt. Verse 26, Judah, another one of the brothers, he says to the brothers, he says, what profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? I mean, he knows they're covering things up. He's acknowledged the concealing it. He's acknowledging we got this cover-up going on here. But we don't get anything out of this. What do we gain from all that? He said, let's just sell him. Yeah. Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. Oh, ding, ding, ding. That's another bad. It's like Shechem. You know, the Ishmaelites, this is the son that was cast out of Abraham's house. This is not the good guys.
Yeah.
And so let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and let not our hand be upon him, right? He's our brother. He's our own flesh. Again, Judah seems to be having some misgivings as well.
Yeah.
So it says they listened to him, and the Midianite traders passed by. They drew up Joseph, lifted him out of the pit, sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. Boy, don't we know of another man that was sold for some shekels of silver?
That's right. That's right.
So they took Joseph down to Egypt. It seems like Reuben must have had to go to the restroom or something. Reuben went away for a minute. Something happened because in verse 29, it says, when Reuben returned to the pit and he saw that Joseph was not in the pit, he tore his clothes and returned to his brothers, and he's like, he's gone. Joseph is gone. And how am I going to go face my father now is really this idea here. Where am I going to go? As far as I can see here, and I don't want to misread it.
Sure.
Something may come to light later that
Sure.
I didn't see that. But the other brothers don't seem to correct Reuben. They don't seem to stop him and say, "Oh, what, Reuben, we sold him. He's good. We sold him to the Midianite traders. Don't worry about it. He's alive." They don't correct Reuben's concern.
Yeah.
Right? They just let him think Joseph's gone and we don't know where he is.
You know what I see about Reuben here is that, he was the first son. He should have had prominence probably in the family, right? Especially back in that custom that he was going to be the leader of the family most time. But dude, he was wishy-washy. If he would have been stronger, this would have never happened. When he talked him out, hey, let's not kill him, and he had this in the back of his plan that he'd come back later and pull him out and rescue him. He just says, no, we're not killing him. Stop it. I think this whole chunk would have changed.
Yeah.
But he was this lukewarm guy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Good point. So here we are, the brothers plot. Before we move to this last point, because I know we got to wrap up here momentarily, the last thing I'll say on this is that this is the result of what happens when you don't address that problem.
Yeah.
It comes to this. People do desperate things. It creates all the problems get compounded. So now there's dishonesty, murder. There's all kind of stuff going on. Again, in God's providence, this is what had to happen ultimately for Joseph to be in a position to save everybody. But humanly speaking, when problems go unaddressed, when the hatred that was simmering in Jacob's household among his sons, when he didn't address that, this is what happens. And so whatever that thing is that you just absolutely dread and you don't want to deal with, it's going to get
Do it
a
first.
whole lot worse before you, if you don't deal with it. So, and if we can be of support and encouragement, if we can pray for you on a more serious note,
Yeah.
totally let us know. Put it in the comments. There'll be an email somewhere where you can reach out to us at the Sift, and we'd be glad to pray for you.
Yeah.
So please know we're not here to shame you or condemn you or anything like that. We are here to challenge you. We do want to push you sometimes. We want to help you maybe take a step that you're reluctant to take, but we're not here to condemn you. Yeah, we're here to help. So, all right, we're wrapping up. We're moving on. We're getting towards the end of this thing, and this is about the big cover-up, right? So now they're going back home, right? They've dipped this robe of many colors. They've dipped it in goat's blood, and they're going home to try to tell the big story to their dad. So verse 31, I think that's where we pick up, something like that. It says, so they took Joseph's robe, they slaughtered a goat, they dipped the robe in blood, and then they sent the robe of many colors and brought it to their father. And they said, look what we found. Lie.
Yep.
They didn't find that.
No.
They stripped it off their brother. So, and then they're like, oh, and then they feign ignorance. Can you tell us, is this your son's robe? You know they knew that robe. You know they were like, this is the robe we hate. They knew exactly what it
Your
was.
son's robe, not our brother.
Not our brother, but your son. That's right. We say that in our home. Like if the kid's acting up, it's like, that's your daughter. You better go deal with her. It's creating some distance there. And so Jacob, the dad, he identifies it. And he sees this blood-drenched robe, and he says, it is my son's robe. And a fierce animal has devoured him. And Joseph is without doubt torn to pieces. And Jacob tore his garments and put sackcloth on his loins and mourned for his son for many days. And these guys just let it happen. They said nothing. They saw their dad heartbroken, grieving, and then had the gall to come and try to comfort him. The next verse says, now the very guys who have done this whole thing by selling their brother, concocting this whole lie, and they've brought the bloody garment back to their dad. Now it says all of them come, all the sons and daughters, they rose up to comfort Jacob. Oh, Dad, we're so sorry for what happened. We're so sorry. And he refused to be comforted, and he said, no, I shall go down to Sheol, my son, to my son, mourning. He says, thus his father, Jacob, wept for him.
Man, unless those brothers are just 100% evil, can you imagine the shame and the guilt that is set upon their shoulders at this time? You know, because sin looks so good, looks like the best option when you're in that. It's attractive, right? When you're in that situation, that we'll kill this guy, our life will be better. They sell the brother, tell this lie. Dad is just crushed, and they're like, oh my gosh, and they've done it.
Yeah,
and they carry that until the end of this book.
Yeah. And nobody breaks rank.
No.
They're off. I mean, they hold on to this tight.
Yeah.
That's
this sin is so heavy.
You know,
I'm speaking from experience, brother.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, it is heavy. It is heavy.
And what do you do with that? So, like right now, maybe this is where you are. Maybe you. I'm listening. I'm speaking to you. Yeah, I know you're looking at somebody. I'm talking to you.
One guy out there.
Yeah,
if we're lucky.
I should just guess your name.
Yeah.
It's like, John, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Susie. But what do you do if you're like Joseph's brothers and you have been dishonest with somebody? Like, what do you do? You've created the situation that you're in, and they created it. At this moment, the right thing to do, the righteous thing to do would have just been to say, oh, we're so sorry. This is not what happened. This is not true. And to confess and to seek to make it right. They could have said to Jacob, we're so sorry. He's not dead. We'll go get him.
Yeah.
At any number of points, the brothers could have stopped before it escalated. They could have said right after before they were going to put him in the pit, all the way back there, they could have said, you know what? We're not going to do that. They could have turned away from the plan at that point. Or after they threw him in the pit and they had their lunch and they took a nap or whatever, they could have said, you know what? We're not going to do this. Or after they sold him, they could have gone back to the caravan and be like, hey, guys, we want our brother back. Any number of times they could have sought to make this right. They could have repented and turned away from that sin.
No, yeah.
And they just don't do it. And so I don't know, you may be like in stage 1 of this, whatever it is you've been dishonest
The conspiring stage.
You may be in part 2, or you may be a little ways down the road and you're like, I don't know how to untangle this. But let me tell you, by God's grace, you can absolutely humble yourself, just be honest and say, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen, or maybe I did mean for this to happen, and I was wrong for that.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way you're going to get out of this thing, whatever this is by just being honest, by confessing it and repenting. And that burden of guilt and shame, whatever's going on inside you that is just tearing you up, God can take that. He can take the guilt.
Beautiful.
He can take the shame. And I'm telling you, you can do this. By God's grace, you can do this. You can turn away from your sin. I'm looking back down, and I got so many notes. We're just gonna have to wrap it up. We're gonna have to tie a bow on this thing and
Nathan, I appreciate this conversation. What I took out of this today is, and I need, this whole thing is probably for me today, but it's this is sticking in my mind. Do the hard things first. Like if you have a hard conversation, something you don't want to, some tension that you don't want to deal with, that needs to be straightened out, resolved. Don't stick your head in the sand. Do it first. If you got that list of stuff on your table today, and you got a conversation with a coworker, or you got to do something that you don't want to do for whatever reason, it's uncomfortable, do it first. Get it off your plate. Because it's easy to not ever get done if you don't do it. Yeah, so I appreciate you articulating it in that way, because it struck me, because I sometimes veer away from the hard things. So I appreciate that.
Me too, brother.
Yeah.
As you say that, absolutely me too. And let me just say, God is so gracious. He's so kind. And you don't have to do this by yourself. I know it may feel like you got to just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and do this all by yourself. And call a friend, call your pastor.
Yep.
If you don't have a good church, hey, Redeemer Presbyterian Church over in Decatur, we're here. We'd love to know you.
People.
But let me just say, you don't have to do this. I love you, man. Yeah. I think we should go back and name this episode "Do the Hard Things." Just do it. I just want you to know, you don't have to do it by yourself. The Lord will be with you. Christian friends will be with you. A pastor will be with you. Reach out. We're glad to lend a hand. But don't delay. Don't put it off.
Yep.
You just don't even know what's going to happen for the rest of today. So just lean into it and do the hard thing. And by God's grace, you'll see how he works in ways that you couldn't even imagine. And so, all that being said, thanks for being with us today on the Sift. We hope that you're taking something away today. If you've got insights, thoughts, things that we missed or things that we may have messed up, and you're like, hey, how could you miss this? Put it in the comments below and tell us what a great job Jeff did. And we hope to see you again on the next episode. Have a great week.
God bless.